Good morning. Today I am going to take a class on water resources. These water resources are, it is a natural resources, and this is very important for all the living organisms. So these water resources are, there are two types of water resources are there. So out of these, the water is present in our atmosphere, the pure water that is in the oceans, that is nearly 93 to 97% of the water is present in seas and oceans. Remaining uh, water is present as a lakes, rivers, and ice caps, uh, and underground water. And the major sources of water is, one is rainwater, another one is surface water that is present in the rivers and lakes, and third one is groundwater. So some amount of water is absorbed by the soil and stored in the soil, that is groundwater. And last one is seawater. So these are the major four sources of water. So the rainwater, there is a product of evaporation process. So in the next slide, I'll explain the hydrological cycle. And in groundwater, the water is absorbed by the soil, topsoil, and purify the water. Slowly, in the multiple layers, it travels and reaches to the last level, that is stored as a groundwater. And last one is ice caps. So this is the largest fresh water, and the liquid state of water is stored as a solid in form, that is ice caps. It's nearly less than 2%. It's very pure water. In the hydrological cycle, there are three major steps are there. One is evaporation process, and second one is condensation process, and third one is transportation and respiration process. So these are the three major steps are involved in the hydrological cycle. So in the hydrological cycle, evaporation process. So when the sunlight is reached to the Earth's surface, so because of high temperature, the water gets evaporated slowly. That is evaporation process. So the surface water, that is the water present in the sea and ocean and rivers, lakes, from all the surface water is slowly gets evaporated and converted into a clouds formation. That is first process. And these clouds are moving from one area to another area, and after condensation process, when it is reached to the low temperature regions, so the water, the clouds that is in the gaseous form, so initially the water that is present in the liquid in state, so when the energy high temperature is reached to the Earth's surface, this water is evaporated and converted into a gaseous phase. Again, from the gaseous phase to after condensation process, again it reaches to the earth as a rain in form. So again, it is travels from the hills to oceans to Earth's surface, the land. Okay, so this is the major three steps. One is evaporation, second one is transportation, and third one is condensation. These are the three steps present in the water cycle or hydrological cycle. So the major advantages of water, the advantages are, the major uses are two types. One is agricultural and industrial. So this is consumptive use. Another one is non-consumptive use. In the consumptive use, the major percentage of water is utilized for the agricultural crops development process. So it is nearly 67% of the water, world water is used only for the irrigation purpose. And this is the main. And remaining percentage, nearly 15 to 20% of water is used for the industrial activities. So in the industrial activities, there are so many steps are there. The purification process, in first stage, that is in the washing process, and the second one is purification process we are using. That is for the normal industry. In the nuclear power generation, again we are using the water as a coolant purpose. So the water is converted into a gaseous form and it rotates turbines. That is the second activity. So agricultural purpose, the water is mainly used, we are used for the agricultural, and second one is industrial. So these are consumptive use. Another consumptive use is, that is the domestic uses. For all the living organisms, uh, either plants or animals or human beings, so they drink water, and that is the drinking purpose. And remaining activities like washing clothes, and these type of activities again need water. That is the last percentage. All these are consumptive in use. And in second, non-consumptive use. In the non-consumptive use, mainly hydropower generation, hydroelectric power generation. So the water is going in the top to, it rotates the turbines. So these turbines produces energy, electrical energy, that is non-consumptive use. So these are the major benefits of water. Examples: recreation, that is municipal, residential, it needs drinking water and washing purpose. And for the navigation, again, the water is essential. In hydroelectric power generation and everything. Okay. And what are the major problems of over exploitation of water resources? So the major problems are decrease in groundwater level. You are using uh, continuously groundwater. If you are using continuously groundwater, so the water level that is present in the groundwater level is slowly decreasing, and it leads to earthquakes or landslides. Okay, or subsidence of land. That is one of the major impact of over exploitation of water resources, because the groundwater, we are mhm, using pumps or borewells, we are extracting the water from the ground, and the water again is transferred to the surface water, okay, from ground to surface. So because of high pressure, it leads to earthquakes. This is earthquakes and landslides. Second one, intrusion of salt water. So in the coastal areas, if you are continuously using bore wells, that is, if you are using groundwater, so after some time, the water level is decreasing, groundwater level is decreasing. So in the coastal areas, when compared with the groundwater level, the sea water level is little bit high. So when it reaches to that level, the salt water may enter into the coastal zones. That is known as intrusion of salt water. And water levels goes it's dry. Heavy pumping on broad scales can deplete the whole aquifers. These are the over exploitation effects. And next, this is the subsidence. Subsidence means when groundwater withdrawal is more than the recharge rate. More than the recharge rate means, so we are continuously using groundwater for agricultural, domestic, and industrial purpose. Suppose the groundwater level is nearly um, 10 meters. That is the top level of groundwater. Let us take one example. So if you are continuously using this groundwater for these applications, the lowering of water table, the groundwater level is gradually decreasing from 10 meters to, that is the top layer of the groundwater, it reaches to the 9. it reaches to the 11th, like that it's gradually decreasing. So you need to dig the borewell very deeply. So at that time it leads to lowering in, there is a disturbance in the water table, because the groundwater or contaminated water in the groundwater we are used for this purpose, and it is contaminated. So that is one reason. And the soil, when the groundwater is present on the soil, the soil molecule, the soil is tightly binded. So when the water we are extracting continuously, there is a aircraft, air may enter between the soil particles, and it finally leads to subsidence. If it is more, that is one of the reason for the earthquakes. This is about water resources. Thank you.